Cool.
Main camera's rolling.
Awesome.
I'm gonna sing that shit.
I think you actually are missing something of mine. I have a sushi roller.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Oh man, I've just been winging it.
You have.
I've just been using this. Holy. Well, that's exciting.
I know.
Oh,
What can I say? I am just a man of many things.
We'll see how it compares.
If
I've just gotten used to doing it without them, but honestly, it makes for a way nicer roll. Sweet.
So yeah,
Oh my
sushi
God.
roller. See, I make
Awesome.
sushi. It was just basically I went to a workshop once.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, welcome to Digging In. This is the new episode, season 2, I guess. We're getting started. With me today is Guy Ettlin.
Cheers.
Good friend. He's a director. He's a journalist now, or soon to be.
Going to be, yeah.
Yeah, moving to London. So yeah, we're just gonna make some sushi tonight.
Exciting times ahead.
Yeah.
By that I mean the food that's about to be eaten because I'm hungry as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us
Rolls.
what has been going into the sushi.
Into the sushi? So I've been doing a pretty simple setup here. I've been making sushi since I was 12. It's like one of the first sort of recipes I started to cook because it's my favorite food. And I started experimenting with all kinds of fancy rolls and all, but I started becoming more and more conservative in my sushi making.
Really?
So I just always revert back to the avocado, tuna fish, and salmon. And
Those are
then
good staples, to be fair.
honestly there. And the other thing is,
Okay.
great, let's do this. Actually, I'll have you make this while I talk
Okay.
about sushi. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, well, I haven't made sushi in a long time. I should probably also wash my hands
Yeah, do that.
before I get started.
Yeah, no. The other thing I find is though with because I would learn how to make the nigiri and I guess what people sort of go to sushi restaurant for.
Yep.
And I have to. Obviously, nigiris are great. And I noticed that too when I got to visit Japan this March, and I was super excited for the sushi. And obviously, again, nigiri, amazing, right? It's just fantastic sushi that you're being served. But I love the makis, just the standard rolls. And so when it comes to like value for your money, I'm always going to go for the maki rolls.
Nice.
They're
Cool. So,
pretty fantastic.
did you prep the rice already? Or am I breaking a June?
like, what do you mean prepping the rice? Like, as in?
For this roll. Because I haven't made sushi rolls in a while. So
Oh yeah, no, this is all set up. The rice is all set up, so
Okay.
it's just about putting the roll
Putting in-
together.
Yeah. So just the avocado. Anything else we're putting in?
I have nothing else anymore.
Anymore?
Nothing set up anyway.
Okay. Cool.
So, I see how you're doing that. Interesting.
I think. I don't know. I haven't done this in a while. Yeah.
Sick.
So when did you start to enjoy sushi? Like what age? I'm trying to remember. Because I feel like you said. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I started honestly like 8 or 9. I don't know. It's so simple, so good.
Yeah.
Like I really like Japanese food for that. It's
Would you like
few
to
ingredients and
try it with the nice little?
sure, let's do it. Yeah.
Because you were freestyling before.
Yeah, I was exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So it was. Yeah, it just quickly became my favorite food. Maybe I thought like as a little kid, like it's really, I don't know, like fancy or cool to like sushi. I don't know what it was.
Yep.
But I would, for my birthday, always ask to go. This was like my main gift for a couple of years. Main thing I asked for was like to go to the, like the one and only conveyor belt they had in Basel, where I'm from. So so we would go to that sushi bar, and you know how like normal people have like 5 or 6 plates, stacked next to them. So you go around the bar and all the people have their little stacks, and then there's Guy, and he's just like a stack like this on my birthday, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. So basically you're saying you just went ham every single time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? That's how you do it. What I should have done, I should have just watched you make the sushi first.
Well, I
and
thought that
then-
was your specific technique. I don't know.
No, I have no technique. I was winging it. I had no idea what I was doing.
That sounds
He
good.
kind of prepped it a little bit, and then I was like, I'm just gonna keep on doing it. And then
Oh yeah, honestly, it's gonna work out, especially with the avocados.
it's okay. I'll just like eat that one straight.
Yeah,
It'll be great.
I'll snack it right
Yeah.
now. Do that. All
I know,
right.
Just looking at the camera, it's great.
Oh yeah, we get to talk into the
We
camera.
do.
For this,
Yeah, we
right?
can. It's
Hey,
YouTube.
That's awesome.
Or if you're listening on the podcast, this is the podcast, and we're looking at cameras. But
Right.
I know it's
So you'll
magic
release
of movies.
an audio version and a video version of
Yeah,
this?
of course.
Cool.
That's what you gotta do. That's what everyone is doing these days.
Right. That's awesome. All right, let's see how I can do this.
Yes, I'm ecstatic to see this.
Do you have some wasabi?
I do not have wasabi, unfortunately.
Maybe a wasabi-less night. That's fine.
Let's see. I might have
Just fold that over.
some Worcester sauce if you're interested in that.
Is that gonna be good? I don't know.
I don't know. You could try mustard.
You could. So then I'll just pretty much wrap it up. Because once you have like the initial, I guess, press going or whatever it's called, then there's your sushi roll. Cool.
He's an expert. I'm not.
Let's leave the. You can just snack on that separately.
snack
we have
on that?
one
Okay.
separate one.
Cool.
Put it over there. Actually, I'll give it to you right now. And let's cut up our rolls. It's the most exciting part. Let's get rid of that rice in the station real nice.
Yeah.
And then here is what I've been working on.
Yeah, because right now, something that everyone should know, Guy is kind of currently staying at my place for the last little week or two.
Because
Yeah, because he's homeless right now.
that's right. They took my apartment away. No, it's.
Oh.
I will miss that place. So that was a cool place. We shot a lot of the. We just finished shooting a short film together, which I guess we're going to talk about. So
We're going to talk about a lot about that short film. It's been an interesting process so far.
That apartment that we had on Saint Laurent,
Yeah,
we used for like 3 different locations.
we did. It was interesting how we converted all of it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really
yeah. Do you want to tell people what the short film was about? Because Guy is the writer and director.
right.
So he's like it's his baby, really.
It's true. What is the short film about? I guess I should really prepare my elevator pitch there a little better because I'm having a hard time. It's about it's a love story that ends for no particular reason. And I think that's something, it's a story I wanted to write because I think it's most love stories that we encounter in, let's say, your typical Hollywood film have sort of a dramatic or significant ending to them, or at least a major conflict that happens that sort of drives the wedge in between 2 characters, and then maybe they'll resolve it, maybe not, depending on what kind of movie you're watching. But I think the more realistic scenario, which I think a lot of us can relate to, is that sometimes one person just starts, let's say they don't feel very well anymore for reasons X, Y, Z, or sort of start drifting away, start doing something else. Sometimes life just separates people sort of slowly and undramatically. So that might not sound like a very good setup for a movie because you want things to be dramatic, but I think we managed
to. Slow burn.
Exactly.
Like, that's a lot more of a mumblecore setup, to be very honest.
Yeah.
Where it's not, or at least I personally love mumblecore. I don't know if you do, but it's not
It's
about.
interesting. Yeah.
It's not about like what's happening in terms of like the plot, but it's more just about kind of living in a moment in the dialogue and just
Exactly.
like getting the experience of what this world is about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately what this project turned out to be. It's and the way we framed it too. Sort of framed in an abstract setting where the main character is, quote unquote, applying to a board of editors to have her story published. Her story being sort of the way that she wants her life to go, ultimately, as it relates to.
Cut sushi. That's
One
complete sidebar.
swift. Yes, there you go.
there we go.
There you go. All the way down. No rip. So really just doing the. Yeah, look at that.
Is this a proper? I feel like this is not the proper knife for sushi, or is it?
It's pretty good.
It's a meat knife.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty good. It's as close as we're gonna get, unless you have a proper.
I do have a proper.
You have a proper sushi knife?
Not a proper sushi knife, but I feel like I have a knife that would suffice.
Huh. Always eating the edges.
Yeah.
I'll have you plate them. That way I can cut them like super fast. We can get to the eating part. But yeah, that's maybe as much as we should say about the plot of the movie. It's framed by an interesting dialogue where we it's very short, and we sort of get it's a snapshot into the story of this main character, and will hopefully intrigue the audience to want to know a little more as to what happens before and afterwards. So that's
hopefully. Oh look, you've done this before. It's very
lots. It's my go-to if I want to impress guests. It's my go-to.
Your go-to to impress guests. That's
Yeah.
You made a lot of sushi.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that right now.
Yeah, this will be more than I thought. Robin was going to eat with us also. Handling the camera here, but
We have a new a camera guy and sound guy. It's great. Robin.
What's that?
So that's the thing. It's been interesting because I've been learning personally where you want to work with good people. So that was our short film too. Like we worked with a lot of talented individuals.
Yeah.
And I realized like it's one of those things where I keep on being shy a lot of times, being like, oh, I don't want to ask people for help. Like I'm used to doing everything by myself.
Same. The asking people for help
Yeah.
thing. I just heard this on another podcast today too, where somebody mentioned like I'm really bad at asking people for help, and it's been something I've been trying to get over to. And when I listened to that, I was like, yeah, that's so me.
Yeah. Because you're a big Tim Ferriss kind of guy. So what podcast did you listen? Was that Tim Ferriss or was it someone else?
That actually, I listened to like 4 episodes of stuff today. That was on Tim Ferriss. Yeah, it was talking.
I'm not surprised. He also looks like Tim Ferriss without the shaven head.
That's what people have been saying, and I was like, huge compliment. So yeah, cheers.
That's how you get to Guy's head. Is tell him he looks like Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, so no,
Or
I do
better
listen.
yet, that he acts like Tim Ferriss.
Honestly, yeah, that's the more important part. Yeah, so I love listening to Tim Ferriss' show.
Yeah.
Rich Roll podcast, one of my favorites too, because I also eat about 95% plant-based.
You do.
I know we got some fish going on here.
Thank you.
Sushi is one of my guilty pleasures. Falls into that 5%, but
I'm glad that you
cut
made
it?
the exception for me. Because I am not a plant eater, not a vegetarian.
Far from it.
vegan. I love my meat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying a good cow.
Oh,
Or
2 years from now, clean meat's coming along. So.
I have no issues with that actually.
Right.
Like I'm happy to have plant-based meat or fake meat. I'm really looking forward to fake meat.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, clean meat, as in like it's just meat, right? Like
Yeah.
right now, people call it clean meat, but basically it's
Yeah.
just gonna be meat,
I know.
not grown in a cow, but grown in a lamb.
Grown in a cow.
That's the way I see it. I mean, fuck. It's
You make it sound like it's like pregnant with the meat.
I don't know. They are pretty much delivery vessels for them.
They are. It's
Without getting all
horrible.
political, though, yeah.
Oh well, we're going down this road. Oh, God.
No,
Yeah.
no, I eat a lot of plant-based food. I think it's great for health, great for the environment, great for your conscience. Conscience? Is that the right word? Yeah,
Your conscience is about your conscience, is what you're saying.
that's right.
Yeah. Say
It's
that
important.
fast.
Conscientious about your conscience.
Okay.
Also, not my first language, English.
Hey, it's not
Just
mine
to get
either.
out. Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Romanian.
Yeah, Romanian.
Sick.
I know. That's
perfect.
It's my escape hatch.
I've been eating too many of those.
No, not at all. More
Oh,
plates.
it's all clean already. Sweet.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, we're on ham on this.
So I think the goal of tonight is to finish all the sushi that we've cut. I think we can do it.
We can definitely do it. It's
not a good idea.
it's a question of whether
It's a
we want to.
horrible idea.
That's right.
This is like all you can eat sushi.
Right.
On steroids now.
True. I've got more rice.
Hold
That's
on.
always something that puzzles me. When you go to an all-you-can-eat sushi
Yeah.
place, so much of it is sashimi. Like I feel like if they want to be cost-effective, there should be a lot of rice. Yeah, listen to that. If you run an all-you-can-eat sushi place, more rice, just
Yeah.
for like your sake.
But people are going there for the sashimi, and it also doesn't cost them much because they're buying bulk.
True. That's fair.
But I also know, like when I went to Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
the sashimi pieces they actually gave you a max of 4, and I was like, "What is this? If only 4?" But
Yeah.
then like it was like
Oh, here's
the
your roll,
thickest
look at this.
cut, like that cut.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you want that thicker cut?
I loved that thick of a cut.
Really?
Yeah, it was really nice.
That was awesome. Let's see what your roll looks like here.
I'm gonna judge it.
It's pretty oval. I mean, we don't have to succumb to the standards of sushi making, I guess. We can make up our own sushi.
Wow,
So look here, I like your oval one. It's gonna get a spot in the middle right here.
it's artistic. Okay.
That's right. Now you gotta defy the status quo.
This is actually kind of nice. Like I feel like I'm just Jim from The Office. I don't know if you watched The Office. You haven't watched.
I actually haven't watched it.
course.
I've watched a little bit of The Office.
Yeah.
And now like half your audience is gonna hate me already. I didn't like it very much. Maybe it's the mockumentary style that just like it needs some getting used to, but like the characters are hilarious and they're interesting, but it's not something that
Did you start with
I
season
enjoy.
1?
yeah.
That's where you went wrong.
Really?
Season 1 sucks.
Oh,
Everyone
oops,
knows
no.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should
Season
give it
2 is
another
where
try.
it gets really good.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's kind of like when I tell people to watch BoJack. It's
But BoJack was great off from the bat.
I
Like,
had
it
some
got
trouble
better?
it got better. I had some trouble getting into BoJack
Really?
initially, yeah,
Yeah.
because he is just so Terrible.
I feel like this is just becoming an assembly line. We have 5 plates of sushi. Like,
So
this is
much
insane.
It's actually nuts.
Yeah. Robin, how are the shots looking?
Yeah, Robin, if you're hungry.
Please have some sushi.
Yeah, I think this might be our
We
last
got
plate,
more
though.
than enough.
Oh.
For everyone who is in a 5-mile radius of us.
Here
right
is, so I was saying, you know, we're a little bit more conservative about sushi making. This is a new thing I tried. And my friend,
Okay.
friend Nicole is also in the movie. She
Shout
mentioned
out.
that to me yesterday when we were shopping for these ingredients. There's cream cheese in this.
Ooh.
So there's salmon, and then there's also salmon cream cheese in the row. So we'll see how.
I'm down for this.
Right. You see a little bit of cream cheese there in the corner.
Thank you. Yeah,
That good? Yeah.
that works.
Sweet.
Cool.
Sweet.
on doing that.
All right. Almost done.
This is way too much food.
No. No, I mean, I when I make it something, I like to have some
Yeah,
leftover over.
You do meal prep a lot.
It's important.
Yeah, I think it's very clear that we know each other very well because we're just. I don't know if anyone's following what we're saying right now. That's.
This is also just a prep part. I feel like this is, once we're going to sit down, our conversation's going to be a little more coherent.
Is it? I don't know.
Maybe
I
not.
don't know about you. I don't know what the hell I'm doing all the time. I'm just making it up as I go along. That's kind of the joy.
Yeah, it's a cool thing
Okay.
about a long form podcast too.
Yeah. It's, solid hour and a half of people listening to us.
Hopefully still listening.
Maybe. I don't know.
Listen. Yo, those look cool. Those look really cool with the cream cheese in them.
Yeah.
Last roll.
Last roll. No, second last roll.
Oh. Sorry there, final roll.
Yeah, you jumped the gun on that one.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
Pretty awkward.
Looking at me bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, go for it.
Do we need one more plate or can we fit it on there? Let's fit it around the sides.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
5 plates.
Of sushi.
Like, one would usually be able to feed a man.
George is currently working and I'm on holidays. So what happens is I wake up late and then I just sit around the house and prep food and watch movies. There's a lot of old movies that I haven't seen, I've been catching up on.
Cool.
Which it's been amazing actually.
Yeah.
I've never watched Casablanca.
Which was astounding. I
Right?
hadn't watched Casablanca. I hadn't watched so many different movies. Like,
Yeah,
it's
breakfast at
nuts.
Tiffany's this morning. All right, this is it.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh yeah, true,
Yeah.
true that.
He's a Spielberg fan. He calls himself a Spielberg fan.
Well, I mean,
It's not what
it's not a Spielberg movie, but it's his. I think it's Spielberg's favorite
Exactly,
movie.
that's what
Right.
I'm saying. Like, if you're
Yeah.
a true Spielberg fan, you would know that it's his favorite movie.
Well, I did know that. That's why I watched it.
Yeah. After too long.
Fair.
Okay, shall we
Let's
shut
do
up
it.
the other angle?
Yeah. I like
You can
it
have the
still.
matching stuff.
No, you can have the matching set.
Okay.
Host matches. Sweet. Fantastic. Awesome.
I know.
Oh, we got 4 plates of sushi.
We got a lot of plates of sushi.
2 guys. We can do it. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, I guess. Well, you said 2 guys, 4 plates of sushi. I think 2 girls, 1 cup. Like, that's sad. That's where my mind went.
I don't know.
I've never watched that video though.
Me neither.
But it just like the pop culture reference kicked in my mind immediately. I was like, oh.
Really?
Yeah, I think like 2 people, another number, something. It's just
This is that reference?
it just
I need to
stuck in my
catch
brain.
up
I
on
think pop culture has ruined me a little bit.
So let's kind of been out of that because I only moved to Canada like 4 years ago, really permanently. So
Yeah. Because you were born in Switzerland.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, nice little place called Basel.
In Basel.
Have you been to Switzerland?
Not yet.
It's nice, honestly. Like, I think as probably a lot of people feel like that. Like, when you're born in a place,
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it as much as other people looking at it from the outside. Especially like touristy place like Switzerland. I tell people, I'm from Switzerland. People are like, "Oh my God, it's
Yeah,
so
you're
wonderful."
just a rich banker.
Honestly, I mean the stereotypes are pretty true though. when it
Well,
comes
yeah,
to
because
Switzerland.
you also studied finance.
Well, economics.
Economics. Okay, economics, finance.
There is a
Economics,
difference there.
Okay, sorry.
I'm very interested in finance though.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
definitely-
That's where I jumped into that. I was like, oh yeah, you just like finance stuff, but yeah, you did study economics. What's the
Econ, yeah.
difference?
Difference?
Yeah.
I mean, from an academic point of view, like econ usually falls under the Faculty of Arts in most institutions, but that sort of reflects the way it's being studied. It's a social science. people, it's studied sort of, it's structured more like political sciences, let's say, where you really you're trying to build, it's a whole way of looking at the world, and you're really trying to teach that sort of the way you're applying models to, test certain hypotheses. And that's also being done in finance, obviously, but finance is a lot more applied. So when you're studying management, it's usually a whole separate faculty. And then within you might be studying finance, you might be studying accounting. And all in all, it's focusing much more on like economics as they apply to businesses specifically. As far as I understand it anyway, I've never studied finance, but I think it's much more applied to businesses and institutions in the world, versus econ is much more looking at the bigger pictures. Obviously there is micro, so you're still looking at like individual agents and how they behave, but we're much more interested in like figuring out how, like, let's say an individual agent in a large system will behave depending on the incentives that are there, versus your finance person is more, let's say you're studying accounting, you're more interested in like how accounting works as it relates to your business in a certain market, in a certain setting, in a certain industry.
It's like more
right?
the particulars.
That was a long-winded way of explaining that. But
that was.
Yeah, basically
okay,
one is its own faculty and one is an art. I think like one is a faculty of art kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
okay. That's fair.
not
But yeah, you are living that stereotype of Swiss.
Yeah. It's honestly pretty true. I mean, I
Just
like
the efficiency. Like, I feel like you are an efficient person. And just like
thank
the
you.
Swiss are also known for their clock making. And
That's true. Yeah,
it's like very
the
similar
train's
to
right
German.
on time.
Yeah.
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 I mean, these are things that, again, now that I visit, it's I'm just eating so many sushi and I'm talking with my mouth full.
The man.
Like it used to.
Wow.
Smooth.
That was. This was a great idea. That was kind of funny. I just managed to make my sushi jump into my soy sauce cup.
Oh right, because we gotta think of people who don't
I
see
know.
the video, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's been interesting thinking about that because it's like for people I realize that are blind, it's like podcasting is incredible in that sense, and then it's just like we're horrible at telling audio stories sometimes, especially when you're doing video. You're like, oh yeah, like they're just gonna see it with the visuals. Like, no.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
It's very different. I absolutely love podcasts. I introduced them like only 3 years ago, but really changed my life, honestly.
You feel satisfied with your life now that you have audio storytelling?
Honestly, a lot more satisfied than I was before. No, I mean, it's also just switching to audio. Audiobooks, use Audible a lot on commutes, on, even flying, when I'll be visiting my family, flying home, let's say for Christmas. I stopped watching movies on planes because I'm like,
really?
I mean, I still sometimes do when one movie is like really exciting, but it's a tiny screen and
usually
the
it's
not
not
the
the
quality
best
is
movie.
usually not that good because you have the airplane noises and everything. And instead, I can listen to, let's say on an 8-hour flight, I can listen to an entire book.
True.
Especially when I do like double, triple speed. Depending on the narrator, you can really speed up there.
Have you tried Blinkist? Because I feel like you would love that. Where it's basically they condense books into blinks.
Right.
And so either you can read
Is that
them.
what Nick was talking about the other?
Yeah, Nick and Gavin, for sure, they were talking about it. Where, so a blink, it's basically they'll parse down each chapter into a blink that you can read very quickly. And then they also have a audio version that maybe lasts a minute or two.
That's really
And
cool.
you can read a whole book in, 10 minutes.
That's more like for just getting the content, right?
Getting the content.
Right.
But you're really hitting the main points.
I guess good for like non-fiction books. Cool. No, I'll check that out. Yeah. I know we're kind of jumping around, quickly going back to
We
the
are.
Swiss thing because I feel like I'm not doing my country justice here.
That's fair.
The thing I wanted to say before is that I really almost looked down on Switzerland a little bit. Like people are kind of, almost, colloquially kind of stick up their ass, like people aren't very...
What? The Swiss with a stick up their ass?
I know, yeah, and it's
Who
so
would have
partially,
said that?
especially, it's true, true. So like, people don't like things sort of fallen out of the ordinary, and I guess a lot of Europe is like that a little compared to North America.
Oh, yeah. Well, it just has culture and tradition.
Yeah.
And the people who stayed, they really like the tradition.
Fair.
Because that's what is connecting them.
Yeah,
which is cool compared to North
on a
America.
societal level, yeah.
Yeah,
That's fair.
North America, everyone's new in a way, apart from the indigenous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah,
kinda,
everybody
it's a
somehow
melting pot.
got here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, that's something that always sort of bothered me, especially because I was an exchange student when I was 15, right? Went to Canada. That was my first exposure to Canada, and I just loved all the things about Canada that were like very non-Swiss. You know, the whole like you're walking down the street and somebody's just like, nice jacket, and I'm like, what? Like I don't even know you, right? So it's, like, it's so nice, and that's sort of like just that, you know, sort of affinity for small talk, and I guess what some people in Europe say is sort of superficial about North America, but I really like all these things. I think it's just a wonderful sort of lively,
Where everyone
morale
seems nice.
going. Yeah.
Well, have you ever read the book? Oh man, I'm trying to remember the title. It's a really good title. Oh my god, I hate myself right now. You know when you have that moment where like you can think of a book very clearly, and then I'm now trying to see if I have it on my bookshelf. It has something. It has "fuck" in the name in the title.
Oh, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
Exactly, thank you. So, have you read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so one of the main points the author has is the fact that it's like Russian culture compared to North American culture. Like, you can't trust anyone because everyone's really mean, but that, for them, it's also a way of, like, you're only nice to the people who actually matter. So, like, this fake niceness, it's like you can't judge someone well enough. It's just like,
Fair.
you're going to backstab me soon. That's like the Russian mentality where it's like, if you're too nice to someone right off the bat, it's
Is
like...
the author from Russia? Or?
No, he was American, and then he visited Russia, and he really liked that, where just like everyone's just like brutally honest. Like,
That's
you
fair,
know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, straight shooters.
I mean, honestly, that's sort of the like endlessly long point I'm always trying to make is that now that I'm here and every time I visit, I can appreciate everything that's Swiss so much more. From the little things of life, stuff is brutally on time, like you said. Everything just works so well. It's just a country that
you make
flows
it sound so bad. Everything
unbelievably.
just works.
Yeah, it works unbelievably well on every front, like
your
economically,
democracy,
politically. Yeah, exactly.
Your money,
It's really fantastic,
hiding
but
money, hiding like Nazi gold. It's all really efficient.
also sadly, yeah, I can't argue with that.
How does that feel? Like that your country is known for hiding Nazi gold. Not to really delve into something dark.
No, I mean that's a good question. I saw a couple of years ago we saw a good documentary. No, actually it wasn't a documentary. It was based on a true story kind of film. It was a Swiss film, and it was about the fact that just around the northern border, and like around the city of St. Gallen, if anybody knows where that is, as eventually as more and more immigrants, Jewish. Well, I guess they wouldn't be called immigrants; they'd be called refugees. Yep. More and more Jewish refugees crossed the border. Eventually, the Swiss government decided that they had to cap and close the border at some point, and it just tells the story of that decision and the aftermath of that. It's a really good film, actually. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Maybe throw it in the show notes or something.
Be good. Yeah,
But,
we'll have it in the description somewhere.
Yeah, it's really emotional, and it just shows the difficulty of that time, right? As in, I still believe General Guizot, I think was his name. General was in charge of World War II during Switzerland. I am personally, I like the concept of neutrality.
Yep.
I think, especially for a country like Switzerland, you know, in a war as brutal as that, why put more, you know, lives on the line?
That's a fair point.
On the other hand, of course, there is also World War II in particular, right? There is more of a
moral weight to the war.
Exactly. It's not like World War I where you're sort of like.
But that was land. It's also the thing with World War One. It's the fact that it was actually just one big family fighting.
Yeah, in a way, all the alliances and all.
Yeah, it was just like the German and the British royals were of the same family. The German king was like the grandson of the British queen at the time.
Right.
It's not like it was nuts.
That's true. I forgot about that.
House of Saxony, I think.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. So World War II is definitely different in that respect. So, yeah, the morally ambiguous decisions sort of happened around there. Well, neutrality. Yes, I think that's something that's defensible. and I like the arguments that were being put forward.
Yeah.
And brilliant plan on the generals' behalf, right? Of the plan that they were gonna, if the Nazis ever did invade, and they were seriously talking about it apparently, they would retreat back into the mountains, blow up all the bridges, right? As they're retreating, because it was such an essential trading route between Germany and Italy, crossing over the Alps. So that really, kept the country safe to a large extent. Now, at what point do you close down your border? Clearly, Switzerland had sent the message that, like, yes, we're here to help, right? So a lot of refugees found shelter in Switzerland. Eventually, the government decided that it was no longer sustainable. And this is actually interesting, because obviously not as dramatic, but it's kind of happening now, right? With Germany facing decisions like that. At what point do you say, we've done enough? And can you ever say that? And it was interesting because that movie I'm talking about really focuses on the local community that, against the decision, they started basically smuggling more refugees over and started housing them illegally. So that's a question that's difficult to answer. As far as keeping the gold after the war, I mean, that's a clear one. That's just completely clear. What do you do with it? That's a different question. But I think
it's one of those things. It's like it's a human thing where it's hard to want to give something away like that, because it's just like when you have power and you have access to it, it's hard to be like, no, this is not moral. Like,
I think it goes down to an even deeper level, especially in Switzerland, because the banking secret, which I think is the English term for it, the bank secrecy clause, which basically just stated that banks were never under any circumstances allowed to disclose any details about their accounts to any authority, even when the authority demanded to, and they sort of had, demanded that. So they had this anonymity in a way, which is why Switzerland obviously became so famous for, money laundering and just like being able to put money there and people aren't going to ask questions, / if people do ask questions, there's never going to be any answers, right?
It's a classic. You set up an account in the Cayman Islands with a Swiss bank account, untraceable.
Yeah. That was only revoked, a decade?
It was revoked, really? Ago? I didn't realize it was revoked.
Yeah, it's no longer the case. Oh. So now you can, there was a vote on that. I do remember that vote. It's a public referendum. And don't quote me on that. I think it was a public referendum. But maybe like one Swiss viewer.
Well, because everything is just like direct democracy.
Right.
So
everything.
Wait, what would be the difference between just a vote and a referendum then?
Just a vote is a referendum always. Whenever the public is, and anybody, the referendum also specifically addresses the part of the Constitution where it says that as an individual or as a group, you can basically suggest anything to be put up for a vote as long as you get X amount of signatures to put on them, and then you can submit it to the executive.
Oh.
So, but yeah, it was revoked. And
rescinded probably is probably the word.
Yeah. You're right. That's a better word for sure. And that's very, I think it's very good that it did happen. It just had no place anymore in our modern times, I think. And
though you're also interesting that you find that, because like I know you're very libertarian at times. You don't like government getting involved in any kind of private affair. So it's interesting. Because like I know you're socially liberal. Yeah. But you have that libertarian streak.
Definitely.
Which I get, so that's kind of interesting.
Definitely. I think it's also reflective of right now, and I think our governments are not behaving in ways that makes it easy to trust a lot of people, especially in the West.
Yeah. Well, it's easy time to pick on the West.
Yeah.
For governments being very closed door and
exactly.
Power hungry individuals, unfortunately. But
yeah, interesting question. Does that apply to libertarians and would that apply to the banking secret? I think excuse me there. No I think it's almost an issue like the bank secret is beyond it's almost not a political issue anymore. So it's not even a question of like how libertarian do we want to be about this versus how I don't even know, how left, how right on the spectrum. I think it's just from a moral standpoint, it doesn't make sense, obviously. And it's just under no circumstances is it constructive, right? Okay. It's you want to build a system where the incentives line up. You can say, if an individual behaves, perfectly, behaves according to the law, then the system should be set up that there is no incentive for the bank to give away its information, that customer's information, and there is also no incentive for any external party to request that information, right? Whereas if that's not the case, let's say if you do a lot of money laundering in Switzerland, right, you obviously from a societal point of view, you want a system that can properly catch that. Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's almost
So you're saying
beyond
it's
politics.
It's because that's a slippery slope on the other hand, where it's just like it's almost where if you're someone that's good, you have no reason to kind of be afraid of being transparent, which I agree with in a lot of cases. Like I prefer to have a radical transparency kind of personality and work ethic.
Right.
But it becomes a slippery slope then where it's like everything's kind of fair game in a sense because so
you don't want to go to the other extreme either, right?
Yeah.
Where that's where my libertarian side kicks in, right? I don't want a system where the government at any point in time can just go in and say, hey, I want every single number on this account. Track exactly, we're something, depending on the country, we're pretty close to that. Which there's an argument to be made for that, obviously. But I think just what most things, healthy medium, right? It's just like
so very like Aristotle, just a golden mean.
Yeah, also very Swiss.
Very Swiss. Oh.
No, I think just being able to. And again, it'd be one thing if it had been done sort of just to protect certain individuals, but at the end of the day, it's clearly a system that benefits the bank also, right?
Yeah.
Because you do, as a bank, you benefit from more money, from holding more money, even if the money is somehow illegal. And if you were existing in a system where it's virtually impossible to track down that illegal money, then
it's beneficial, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a great gist. But yeah, going back to the original question with
what are you saying? We're going actually gonna go full circle now? Yeah.
Well, gold after World War II. Maybe part of it is just like holding on to resources if you're given them, but the other thing
Natural
was
human inclination.
maybe. But it's also one of these things where, and I really don't like that, where if you can blindly quote any sort of, let's say, a constitution, any sort of what's it called, code almost, right? That should be your stress test for whether it's something that society truly wants. And that was one of these places, right, where you have all these resources sitting in your account. There is nobody who is ever going to claim that.
Yep.
Right? So there's even like taking all like personal motivations aside, according to the structure, the way that the system was structured, there was no way of getting that money out until an international body, charged Switzerland with paying X amount of billions of reparations, which they then eventually did. But yeah, because I think that the incentive was just completely misaligned. And it came back in 2008, right, after the financial crisis, where you're now looking at Marcel Ospel that takes Switzerland's case, but also every single CEO in New York, right? Banking CEO on Wall Street. Not to shit on every CEO.
Wow, you just really cut to the heart of capitalism. Just every CEO in New York State. Not even just the city, just the state.
So everybody involved in banking institutions, if you were leading an institution that eventually collapsed.
Everyone was dirty, in a way.
Yeah, whether on purpose or by ignorance, that's the question. But
I think it's just willful ignorance.
Fair.
It's one of those things when you have power and you're going to be aware of the things that you're kind of doing, where you choose to delegate to people to like have them just kind of clean up the mess. I think
the mess was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Especially once the storm clouds became very apparent, there was this we're sort of going on the sidetrack here, but basically everybody was riding the elevator up.
Yep.
Right, and then
because it's like if we all believe in it, it's real.
Yeah.
Which is
that's
nuts.
how a lot of these markets work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also fascinating, but
yes, I know. We're
nuts.
definitely gonna go into Bitcoin and eventually.
Yes. Oh yes. That would be a nice addition to that.
I know.
But no, it's everybody's riding the elevator up. Everybody's making a lot of money. Great. So now some people caught the peak early. They were saying, "Oh, here's the peak," and then they start shorting the market. But the way it ended up working, right, is that even if you're already on the descent, if a person managed to sort of realize on the descent, holy shit, we're going down, there was still a way for them to benefit from that, running the elevator back down.
That feels like an insane system. Like,
Yeah.
why is it possible to short the market? I never understood that. Why was it legal to bet against the market?
There's people that say that shorting should be shouldn't be a
it
thing. Should be
seems
illegal, yeah.
Bonkers, because it basically gives incentive to actually manipulate the market to crash.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, yeah. So
like-
you want to have systems where it's never, you never want to have an incentive to manipulate the market. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you do have an incentive, it shouldn't be possible to manipulate the market
Hopefully,
legally anyway.
But like that's the thing. It's when you have enough money, as the systems do. Like, and like this is where it's even interesting with like having so much like be AI now.
Yeah.
The fact that they do the day trading.
Right. Yeah. About 70-80% now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Where it just like computers are reacting to it, and they're all they're
The
obviously
passive waves are heavy. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
once
One
wave starts
goes-
going down,
yeah.
everybody's so that the fluctuations are insane.
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially with your ETFs and everything that's being traded now. But
we're getting
no.
into really nerdy.
Yeah, I'm
market
getting really
talk.
down finance here. But
Yeah, so for everyone that is watching for content stuff, we really went down the rabbit hole with finances. Financials are important though. It's something that
yeah.
I think about it as a passive income stream. That's like, I personally gained a lot by investing in stocks very early on.
Right.
So it's
Tech.
tech.
Yeah, tech.
Because it's also, but I always did. You need to know what kind of company you're investing in, because if you don't have an idea of what the company does, you're gonna lose.
Right, right.
Like that's whenever I lost money was because I was just like, oh hey, this company is gonna give good dividends and like it's gonna be growing. It's like
Right, but not actually knowing
but I
what
have
the-
no idea what the hell the company does. I'm
Right.
like,
Just noticing we're firing away on these sushi like crazy.
we are.
We're gonna finish those.
We are. For people
we
keeping
gonna finish
track, one plate is done. I would really want, like, if I were a wealthier man, I would just break this plate, like
Wow.
very Greek style.
Wow.
But I'm just gonna put this down. And I can almost clearly say that we're easily
We're getting there.
2/3 of the way, if not
Cream
more.
cheese is heavy. How do you like the cream cheese?
I kind of like it. It is a little heavy.
Yeah. It's
I'm gonna-
interesting
I'm gonna
feeling.
rearrange this. It feels like beer pong, when you just change.
You're doing the triangle or whatever it's
Of course,
called.
I'm trying to think what it's called.
The
I
button. The button. Is it called the
I
button?
have no idea, but like when you
No, the
ask
button's
when you ask like to have the cups rearranged, I'm trying to figure.
There's a word for that?
There is a word for that. This is clearly how much I drink, or I play beer pong at least. I've always been horrible at beer pong.
Yeah. Oh, I forget. But I do have an answer as to why.
You forget your beer pong days, is what you're saying? Is like you drank so much that you just
So long ago.
How can you say that? Like that's like relative. Okay, relative to your lifespan, it is far away.
True.
But
True.
it's 2 years, 3 years. It's not. That's nothing.
More like half
It's
a year.
Bli-
Anyway, I do have an answer for
yeah. So any future
Why
employees
people-
of Guy, he stopped drinking beer pong. Well, playing beer pong at the end of 2017. Then
That's right. Yeah. Let's go with that.
that's what we tell. I always find that interesting, where our lives are so public, and everyone makes mistakes, or what are like society deems mistakes.
Yeah.
I wonder how it's going to react, like, be in 20 years, where like everyone's past is very widely spread. Like, can employers really say anything about being stupid in a way? Like, to a certain point, obviously, like,
What
if
do
you've
you
done
mean?
something horrible, then
Yeah.
But like, just like, kind of being human and just doing the normal human stuff.
Because you see the whole spectrum
Yeah.
of what people do. Interesting thought. Yeah.
Like, will it make all of society more liberal in a sense?
Yeah. well,
Or there's always the idea that like liberalism comes in waves, and that we're about to peak back into conservatism.
yeah. Well, I think now it's. So would you say we're in a liberal wave right now?
We're at the end of a liberal wave, if anything.
Yeah, because it's politically it's not looking so good. But actually, well, let's see what the midterms bring. We're just talking about the states here.
We're just
obviously,
talking. Yeah, that's.
yeah.
Well, no, it's just like we had a very like the Western world had a very long streak of liberalism, for like since I'd say since the end of World War II, there was a strong sense of liberalism.
Right.
And the last couple of years have been kind of a rebuke of that.
Right. Yeah, there was more short-term fluctuations, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. There's
it definitely comes
Reagan
waves.
in the 70s, like.
Right.
Is that 70s? Yeah, 70s.
Yeah, Bush. But
Is Reagan 70s or is that he 80s?
honestly, I'm not the person for American history. That's
I don't know.
I'm not gonna embarrass myself on camera.
I probably embarrassed myself there.
Maybe. No, I think it sounds.
It's somewhere. It's not
out there.
90s because 90s was Bush, like senior,
right.
and Clinton.
70s, 80s, something like that. That general area. What were we saying before? Yeah. So that's one of the question is like, does complete transparency will it lead to like standards going through the roof? Where everybody just has to be perfect, or will people just cut people more slack? Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Right.
I hope for the slack.
Yeah.
Not because I want to
It's
be.
more constructive.
It is. It's not. That's been
With an aim for people to improve themselves.
This is
but
where-
not being ashamed of, failure.
exactly, which is like a crux of our society. I think it's especially having like both of us going to McGill.
Yeah.
We saw people burn out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like super type A.
Yep.
And you need to be perfect all the time. And I say that as someone that tried to be perfect for probably a very long time, and then realized like that's ridiculous in a way.
That doesn't make sense, and it's.
You burn yourself out. You're not enjoying life.
And most importantly, you got to be like when we're talking about, let's say, constructively moving forward with anything, no matter what you're working on, be it film or business or anything. You got to be able to say I don't know. Like people in power positions, often there is this demand that you just gotta. You can never say I don't know, right? And it's so.
Which is weird.
I think it's essential, right? If you're having a company, leading a meeting, and somebody asks you a question, it's so liberating to be able to say, I don't know. Right? Not saying like, fuck it, I don't know, but like, I don't know, let's find out.
Yeah.
Like, it's that sort of...
It's very much frowned upon where it's like if you make a mistake, I don't know about you, but like if I'm doing it...
Mason jar. So cool, sorry. Very Montreal.
Very
Mason
Montreal.
jar, yeah.
I like if I'm doing a job and then like I make a mistake, I feel like I've just like disappointed everyone. Where it's just like, no, that's literally life. That's,
Right, exactly.
That's the best part of life is actually making mistakes and then figuring out a way to kind of avoid those mistakes.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
That's actually growth.
Yeah, that's essential, right?
I know.
That second part is essential because
Yeah.
it's not about just saying, well, we can do it. Like,
No.
honestly, let's just not care about anything. That's not the point.
What? We can't just be complete nihilists and just give a shit about nothing?
No,
Like,
yeah,
it doesn't
better,
matter. Nothing matters. Nothing exists. God isn't real.
It's all society's fault.
Yeah.
But
Just blame the other generation.
honestly,
I look forward to seeing, like 20 years from now, millennials en masse blaming a different generation for something.
aren't we already doing that?
We are.
Climate
But
change
it'd be, but it'd be interesting. Are we going to shift focus at some point from baby boomers, like blaming them for everything, to a different generation?
Maybe. The new young people.
Because that's the thing, baby boomers did the same thing with their parents. They're like, because they were
It
the
goes
60s.
both ways, and it's also younger, right? When people
Yeah.
are saying, all the young people today.
I know.
I wonder what. Oh, shit. Once we're like 70, what are the
I know.
young people gonna look like?
I don't know.
That's the question.
I've
Can be
read
like
a couple,
semi-robots or something like that.
maybe, but we'll be robots at the same time. So
Well, there's this interesting thought, right, where some people see AI as a like evolutionary, the logical evolutionary consequence
It
of
is.
like human existence. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bad thing if like AI takes over completely. I don't know. I do actually. Wait. Yeah, I do have an idea for a script as it relates to that. So maybe we're gonna write something like that.
perfect. Yeah, no, but like, to go on your evolution point, of course, it's humanity over time has always used tools. We had fire, we had bronze, we had like iron. We always use tools. We've just figured out a better tool that we can implement with ourselves.
You mean?
Like,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You mean
Like-
AI?
yeah.
Yeah.
That it's also thinking about all the biomechanics that are happening. The fact that you can have people that lost limbs and then they now have limbs that work.
Yeah.
That's insane.
incredible.
Where
It's
just like it's a robot, yeah, but it's still
Yeah.
nuts.
Right.
And of course we're going to use that. Like
Yeah. Exactly.
anyone that says that we're not, it's,
No, it
it's
will
a
definitely
fantasy.
happen. The question is whether it should happen. But
it's
not
one of
talking
those-
about limbs here. That's clearly
Yeah.
like that's not a bad thing. But
Yeah.
well, I guess probably somebody's gonna have an argument for why it's a bad thing. But
Yeah. Well, I'm sure people had an argument why fire was bad.
right, exactly.
It's like you're gonna burn yourself. You're gonna burn your house down.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
We can't use fire.
Which is how I feel about blockchain too, right? You got it there. No, because I always said like, you know, if
Yeah.
the thing, if blockchain doesn't, or at least a version of blockchain, that's an equally good idea. If it doesn't take hold, like in the foreseeable future, that's like, you know, the guy comes along with the first toilet and people are like, yeah, no, that's a bad idea. Let's not do that. Which sure happened, but didn't stick around for very long.
There's
right?
a lot
So-
of inventions that people invented, didn't really get traction, and then someone reinvented it later.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like the toilet is here, and like I think
toilet
blockchain
is-
is equally as impressive as a toilet.
Please tell me you've quoted that in something that you wrote, because that's incredible. Because it's both saying something great and horrible about blockchain.
That's right.
It's as good as a shitter,
That's right.
is what you're saying.
That's right. I rest my.
Please, next article you write, you have to
That'll be
incorporate
the title.
it.
That'll
Yeah.
be the title. Yeah. Now, my editor's gonna love that.
It would get the clicks.
That's true. Yeah. That's actually something I find so interesting. No, non sequitur, but I noticed
We've
that
been doing that all night,
been
so it's fine.
fair. This is that kind of conversation.
I feel like that's how I talk. The people who talk logically and without kind of trailing on tangents, is that a living?
Not much though, anyway.
Or maybe I just can't appreciate that because I like throwing in different ideas and going sideways.
Me too. I'm one of the people that always tries to come back somehow.
Yeah, of course.
But this is
That's how I live my life too. It's like I just like have a bunch of tangents that are running wild,
Yeah.
and then eventually, you like long enough, they intersect at certain
right
places.
Exactly. It's questionable whether we're gonna get there tonight, but
Yeah.
we've talked about so many things already. But
But we wrap some things up in a way.
for sure, yeah. I guess.
But like it's also like I think that's where that says something about humanity, where we want to have clean storylines. We want it to be wrapped up, but it's okay when things don't end. Interestingly enough, you're thinking the exact same thing
Right.
with how we left our short film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we that was an interesting process. People, yeah. So
How's
we're
it?
talking about yesterday. We just did a pretty intense editing.
We started at midnight.
Yeah, we started at midnight.
Well, sorry, I had been editing all day.
I was just saying, George has been working on it all day. I was back and just somehow our visions didn't link up, right? So I'm sitting at home here, annoying the shit out of George by commenting on every single thing that he sends me.
Single
And
thing.
and it comes back, and he starts replying, and so we started having this like back and forth
It got pretty intense.
on frame. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so eventually you come home and we're like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. Let's do this tonight. We're sitting down together and
Yeah.
we're coming up with a solution for sort of the grand concept of the film. And it was George's idea to restructure simply but quite dramatically restructure the film. And again, this is just a testament to how important editing is, where
Thank you.
we shot all the things. We have all the footage. It tells one story the way I have it in my mind, right? And yet we can rearrange that footage in a way that tells a similar yet completely different story. Similar yet completely different.
Yeah.
But
Where-
yeah,
Because it's made of the same parts.
right. Similar in that sense, but
Yeah.
really
Different flavor. It's
it gives
it's-
leaves the audience with a completely different
like Italian cooking.
Italian cooking.
Yeah, because it uses the same ingredients, like the same simple ingredients over and over again.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But then each thing is vastly different.
Yeah.
Like,
No, exactly.
Like a pasta from a lasagna from. Again, I'm just thinking all things that are pasta based. But like you have the same kind of assortment of ingredients, but like it can be drastically different.
For sure, yeah. You have your
Depends how you arrange
spaghetti,
it.
and you have your sauce and your beef on top,
Yeah.
or you can have all three of them in a pasta with just a tortellini, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that a good analogy?
Yeah, ravioli,
I don't know. Something like that.
tortellini. Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
always
that was,
love just bringing up Italian cooking, anyways.
Italian cooking is good.
I know it's great.
They,
It's good. It's cheap
yeah,
and tasty.
it can be cheap.
Yeah.
No, it's really. So that was really wonderful
Yeah.
what came together yesterday, because now as a result, whereas the way I'd initially imagined the movie, it sort of was, it had its own catharsis, sort of it was complete in of its own.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a 10-minute film, so now, so I sort of had it structured like a feature. In
You
my
did.
head, right?
Which was cool, but I had that thought where I was like, I realized it's a short film.
Right, exactly. So now
And
instead,
I'm also just like, I've gotten really good at just cutting brutally.
yeah, I think that's
and
good, right? If
It's tough because like at times I'm like, I don't want to cut this, but then I'm just like, it needs to serve the story. That's always my thought. It's like, which is really tough. Like and now I feel like it sounds like I'm tuning my horn, but like I really sometimes am horrible at that where I'm like, I don't know what someone's gonna see and try to place myself in the audience footstep.
Right.
Or seat or whatever, or in their shoes, whatever analogy of the audience. But
no.
it's tough to, it's tough when you watch so much footage backwards and forwards.
You know.
To then
yeah.
be like, okay, if someone that has no idea what the hell's going on,
Yeah.
are they gonna follow this?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
why
then-
going too fast is sometimes a problem, but yeah, just finding that sweet spot. But yeah, basically now as a result, we're using the same footage, but we're now telling a story that's more of a snapshot, like basically just a little peek into a grander narrative, which is so interesting because if we ever were to write a feature out of this film as well, if we were to turn this into a full-length movie.
We keep on saying, so it's gonna happen.
Cheers. Yeah,
'Cause
it's now on camera, so
It's
let's
now on
make it
camera,
happen.
it's recorded.
Yeah, good.
It's one of those things.
Accountability systems, I love it.
I know. That's actually why I record, do all this stuff, because I tell everyone what I'm gonna do, so it forces me to do those things.
No, it was very
The
good.
timeline I never tell. I never am like, oh, I'm gonna do this in like 5 years, or like there has to be specific things where I'm like, I know I do want to travel around the world, and I've set kind of the arbitrary deadline for like 30, because that's also like far enough in advance that I can kind of plan.
Right.
But everything else, I'm like strict timelines don't make sense.
Cheers. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, plate 2 down.
Damn. Almost 3. I mean,
We got
3
big plates.
altogether. Yeah.
But we gotta clear the plates.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel real full.
I also do have a.
Right. You have a
I've
little
been
thing on
I've been,
there. You have a little thing on
been
there.
holding on
Yeah.
to food.
Oh, this is gonna be
I think
tough.
this shows the difference.
The last 100 meters are always the toughest.
I know. I don't know. I actually love the last 100 meters.
Really?
Because I used to do cross country. Last 100 meter, easiest part of the race.
Really?
Yeah.
Most
I would
exciting
sprint.
part of the race. Yeah, exactly.
That was the easiest time to sprint for me.
The sprint.
That and uphill. Like running up hills, I run it nuts.
I really enjoyed that too, actually.
I don't know. I feel like everyone else is like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I just love hills. I love that brutal hurt. So I think that says a
enjoyed
lot
that
about
too.
me.
It's just a weird thing. I always
Yeah.
liked. I was always a pretty good runner when I was doing too much.
Yeah.
So it's bizarre that I didn't take that further. But now when I hit the gym, I try to do as little cardio as possible.
Yeah, we went to the gym together, and you just love the weights.
Yeah. I feel like good weight training done
Yeah.
properly gives you a lot of cardio as it is.
Which is fair.
And I know there's research is divided on that, but as for now, I'm trying to grow a little bit, feeling like what I run off my muscle, like your glucose in my muscle.
I know.
But again,
Again,
that
I
would
think-
spark a huge debate. So
It would. I am not a gym rat enough to
Yeah.
really debate you on this.
yeah, I'm
I
not-
just go to the gym and feel good.
yeah,
That's-
exactly. And everybody who does that, I'm never gonna tell them you're wrong. You know, like if you're at the gym,
Yeah.
props to you. That's
Because I personally, I'll just go bike for like a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour.
fair. Yeah.
I just like because again, it goes back to my rowing past where, I would get used to just doing low, steady state pieces, and that's home for me in a way. Where it's just like, hey, this is a nice workout. I feel like I'm doing something. It's also a good break for me because it's like that's what I miss most about actually doing sports was the fact that I would wake up early in the morning to go row on the middle of a lake and just like the whole glass, like the lake would be glass still.
Yeah.
You'd have a bit of fog creeping in. That was meditation at its
beautiful.
finest. Like
Sounds
early mornings, like you're getting out just before sunrise, so like you're actually on the water with the sun.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah,
That sounds really nice.
I miss that. Like I dislike the Montreal for that specific fact. Man,
What I think like
because there isn't a good place to go row near Montreal. Like you have to go a little farther out. Like I would need a car basically to do it here. But I also know that I will, probably start rowing again when I'm like 30 or 40.
yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds great.
I'll do that. When I have money and time.
I feel the same about karate. Martial arts is just a wonderful especially as a teenager.
Yeah.
Wonderful way to sort of let out, I know, not the aggression, like, yeah, find an outlet for all the things that, happen in your head when you're a teenager, and yet do it in this, like, beautiful, mindful, disciplined way. I can't recommend it enough. So where I'm going to be moving to in London, we're pretty close to a studio that does exactly the Kyokushinkai type of karate I used to do, which is rather niche. It's getting a little more popular now, but so I was really surprised specifically for that thing.
Everything used to be niche, but now is anything niche? Because it's also, I think, the population boomed.
It's going faster,
and it's also the fact that we now also have the internet, so it's easier to find the communities that enjoy a niche.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
So niches have...
The definition is changing.
Yeah.
I think everything is sort of amplified. Yeah. And probably faster, right? So
yeah.
Whatever is niche will grow bigger faster.
Yeah, if it's enjoyable.
Higher turnover.
Because there's some things that are losing interest. Some certain skills.
That's fair too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so full.
I know, it's...
Can we do it? Should we save those last couple for lunch?
I don't know. This hurts. We're right at the tipping point where...
Look, we're going to make ourselves feel it. I was just putting these 2 sushi over here.
Okay, plate number 3.
Look at that, plate number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see what Robin does when I put all these plates up. I wonder what he's going to edit. Yeah. It's been something where I'm learning to let go a little bit. I'm bad at letting go. I'm very bad at letting go, and I am putting my full trust in Robin right now, so...
Let you go. Well, yeah.
Shout out to Robin.
Now you see how I feel. But honestly, though, it's interesting, right? Coming from them, so I used to do a lot of. I come from a theater background as a director,
you do.
and actor and director. So then, when you're directing in theater, you really you envision the project, you start the project, you take it all the way to the end, and then you step on the stage for that final bow last night, and you.
Is that the only time a director actually takes a bow in theater?
I'll say it depends.
Depends what kind of ego you have as a director, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I actually didn't. For my last show, I didn't take any bows.
Really?
Just because it didn't. Because it was the concept of the 7 clowns that they were playing, the different characters. It's their space. They exist. Actually, they kept referencing Director Man. Actually, that became a joke later on.
It did.
But sort of the idea is really it's their show. They're coming up with it, so nobody really directed them. We didn't really do that, but. There's different things. Some directors take a bow on opening night, and then some closing night. Some take it every single night. It depends. Yeah.
Depends on the
Maybe there is a proper way of doing it that honestly that I'm not aware of. But
that'd be interesting to know Broadway directors, because they're not going out every night.
No.
Especially if you're on a show.
Oh yeah,
that's
no.
been running for years.
There's probably for your previews, your openings, and the closing. Because the closing is always, especially if a show has been running for a long time. The closing is really emotional, right? So everybody's on there, every single person that has been working on it. But just the point being that you take it from start to finish, right? And you strike the set with the cast, if you cast right, and that's it. And then and in movies, unless you have final cut, as a director, you do the pre-production, you're there, you produce it, you shoot all the stuff, and then you hand it off, and it's it's an interesting feeling. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Because obviously, we're working a little closely, more closely together.
Than some people would.
Right, but if it's, for there to do this uber properly, I'll just hand it off and that's that.
Yeah.
So,
You would shake hands. You then feel your heart get ripped out, especially because you wrote it. Because you did the first 2 aspects of any film.
Right.
Because there's 3 phases.
Right.
I feel like everyone knows. This is a well-worn analogy, but there are 3. There are 3 versions of any movie: the one that gets written, the one that gets shot, and the one that gets edited.
Exactamo. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
And all are valid. All can be good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, let's see how this one turns out. Yeah.
Hopefully. Well,
really
I think it's also the point.
People.
I think for me, what's been the biggest thing is just the fact that we're doing it. Because I think it's been interesting because I think it's turned out better than I imagined.
Same. Same.
We say this now, and then everyone hates it. We show it, and people's eyes bleed out. It's I'm literally thinking an Indiana Jones type gruesome deaths. by mutilation, like by just like having their eyes sink in and bleed out.
Brutal.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost
See,
Ark.
the best way to find out is to show, man.
Yeah,
So,
I know. But yeah, snuck that Spielberg reference just for you.
cheers.
Um,
I'm not that. I mean, no, I'm not gonna say I'm not that big of a Spielberg fan. I
you
love
are.
Spielberg.
You've talked about the
It's
documentary.
amazing.
Like,
Yeah,
to
the
me, a lot.
documentary is amazing. Yes, so the documentary that
Yeah.
just came out, Spielberg, everybody should watch it. It's unbelievable. Whether you like, even if you don't, even if you're not the biggest fan of Spielberg, that's still a fantastic
Yeah.
documentary to
Well,
watch.
so he's a master of cinema in his own regard.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like him.
Yeah, no, and I do like
Yeah.
I do like all the movies that I've seen from him.
Which
but
one's
that
your
being
favorite?
said,
Put you on the spot.
that is I mean, when you take it from, we're talking Jaws to Ready Player One here, right? So
Yeah, I
like,
know.
it's massive range.
It's a massive collection.
I mean, I do love Jaws.
Fair enough.
Jaws is fantastic.
I have to go
also
Indiana Jones.
I really like War Horse.
Wow, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good movie.
I thought that's the type of, also visually, that's the type of story I just love.
Yeah.
And then using that, using the horse as a storytelling device, it's fantastic, right? Because how else are you gonna? I mean, sure, there's other ways, but what an elegant way and an emotional way of showing so many different sides to one conflict. So, yeah, I'm done with the sushi. I think we need to be reasonable here and leave those.
We got far.
Because I once heard of a friend of mine who overate on sushi and hasn't touched the sushi since, which is like my nightmare, my 8-year-old gee's nightmare, so I can't do it.
Well, it's also, right now it's interesting because we had 4 plates.
Yeah.
We have 8 sushis left. And
Yeah.
there's a tradition in Japanese culture with sushi
Really?
that you're supposed to leave a piece of sushi
Uh-huh.
as a sign that like your chef
Uh-huh.
gave you just a little too much.
Okay. Interesting.
So technically,
I
in
didn't
each
know that.
plate both of us just had 1 piece too much in all 4 plates right now.
Cheers. Perfect.
So this is what we do a lot apparently, is we try to find
Yeah.
logical reasons for
That's
things
right.
where we actually just made a mistake.
That's right. Shot goes wrong and you're looking at it and it's like, oh, look at that. The fact that it's out of focus just tells this story.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, we just need to mirror it. That's going to
Exactly.
save everything.
Oh, yeah.
He knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, stuff happens. Stuff happens. But
That's the beauty. That's the thing.
it's fantastic. Yeah.
I think that
The collaborative element of just...
it's that. It's also just the serendipity of it, because that's art. I think it's if it was easy and everything went according to plan, it wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Very rarely is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, either the two, right? It can still be easy and not go to plan, and then we can make it easy and fix it in an easy way, which is often the most elegant. But yes, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. And that's why it's so wonderful to work in large teams as well, where everybody's empowered to share their input and work at 150%, especially on the creative front. Where it's so cool when you're, especially as a director, you envision a project initially, and you have sort of the final vision in mind, and then you take it all the way out there. And just on the way, there's input flying in from everywhere that really just like 9 out of 10 times makes it so much better, and you end up with this final product that is better than you ever imagined. And I'm just like, it's so cool. It's honestly so cool.
And that's when the biggest thing is surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
exactly.
we had a lot of other people help on this film. I swear. No, the cast was like that. The cast was incredible. Like the actors were really on point.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
how many times did I say like, oh, like we need to keep this long take,
Yeah.
because it was a shame to break from that actor. It was like that was lovely to have.
Exactly.
In a way, and then
Yeah. Great tech.
Yeah.
Love working with Gaspar.
Yeah,
Gaspar
shout out to
Nemi is
Gaspar.
fantastic, fantastic lighting designer.
Yes.
In this, also the other cool thing was that each of us handled like 3 departments at the same time.
we did. I look forward to not doing that next time.
Yeah, exactly. I think Gaspar did literally not sit down for 16 hours like that
Did
one
not.
day. You definitely didn't.
No, I did not.
But yeah.
Apart from like food, I think once.
Yeah,
Like I remember someone bringing me food, and I was like, "Thank you."
exactly. Yeah.
That was really nice.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah. Not to say that like I'm making it sound like that's something that's really cool. Doesn't need to be done like that. So there's ways of doing this where it's a lot easier for you. But that being said,
Yeah.
I did enjoy sort of doing like getting punched in the face in that respect, saying like, you know,
I think it's our
I can do
personality
it.
type.
You know what I mean? Like then you know
Yeah.
you can do it, right? Then
Yeah.
you mean like, okay, now it shouldn't really get much worse than that. Cool, right? So I like it's a little bit like winter in Montreal. Like my very first year here, February was so brutal that afterwards I was like, well, I can't possibly get any cold than this.
And then it did.
So did it?
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I got that was
That was the
it got in
coldest
your
February?
second year. That was my first year.
True,
so like
true.
my first year here, that was the coldest Feb apparently ever. So yeah, it feels good to be like I can do this. I can go.
You also are a
lot
person
of
that
places
likes
in the
cold
world.
showers, so I can't trust you on that.
True, cold exposure. Love it.
Um,
Anyway, yeah.
yeah. Cool.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Do you have a standard way of bringing it home, or?
I usually just cut and then I wrap up in a different like
Gotcha.
be like, oh hey, like I
Cool.
should have said that. I just roll and then like whenever we feel it's done, it's done.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, because then I usually talk to the camera and be like, oh hey, like
No.
yeah,
Love it.
thanks for
Cheerios.
watching. Yeah, cool.
That was really cool.
It was. And then
Yeah, I'm gonna end with that for sure.
Star Wipe. We need Star Wipes.
Cheers. Well, it's 9:12. I got to rush.
It is 9:12.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's
And,
cool. Happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Cut.
Cheers.
Yeah, so anyways, that's our show. This week we were produced by me. We were shot and edited by Robin Loom. Our theme song is by Ashmeta and our logo is by Isabel Lee. Special thanks to our guest Guy. He was awesome to have on, and I will definitely be letting you know when our short film is out. It's called Turning Pages. Yes, and then yeah, special thanks to our sponsor, Ether Kombucha. We do love you, and till next week, have a good one. If you want to listen to the full uncut version, you can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. And yeah, so till next week, have a good one. Cool. Cool.
That was really fun.